With the situation now under control, the mercenary went to the fallen cleric and knelt down in front of him. His white robes were dirty, and specks of red could now clearly be seen. The old man coughed, wiped his nose with his right sleeve, and then looked up at Garrick. "Well, my kind mercenary, I fear you are too late to save me," said the cleric through the pain. Garrick looked down where the cleric's left hand was. It covered his stomach, and blood was not only staining the robe, it was soaking his hand. "Hold on, my holy friend. I think I can," replied Garrick, but the cleric grabbed his arm. No, there's not much time," stated the cleric as he looked from Garrick to the sky above. "I'm not far from Elion's embrace. The god of all creation is calling me. I can feel it." Garrick started to tear a piece of the cleric's robe off to double up the fabric to stop the bleeding. The cleric breathed deeply, his mind made up on his next action. He pulled an old scroll from his inner robe and tried to hand it to Garrick. "My name is Brayland. You must take this to the holy city, to the high priest himself, no one else." The cleric coughed and winced in pain. "I found it in the catacombs. It was... Please, just take it to the high priest." Looking at Brayland in what Garrick knew were the old man's last moments, and seeing how important the scroll was to him, the mercenary grabbed the rolled parchment and quickly stuck it into his pack. Curious about the scene unfolding in front of him, Onyx left the injured bandits, trotted up, and stood next to his kneeling companion. Garrick rubbed the mystic wolf's head for a moment, trying to figure out what to do next. "Rest, old man. I will do what you want," answered Garrick, mostly to put the cleric at ease in his final moments. Brayland winced in pain as he lifted his left hand from his stomach. With his right hand, he tried to slip a ring from his finger. Though it took all his strength, he was finally able to get it off. Then he motioned to Garrick. Garrick opened his hand, and Brayland placed the ring into his palm, closing it tight. "When you get to the holy city, show them this ring. It is a ring of the brethren. With this, you will have little trouble getting an audience." Pain racked the cleric's body again. Then he smiled. "I thought it would be I who brought the knowledge of the location of the king priest's scepter sword to the holy city, but Elion has declared it to be you, mercenary." Onyx looked over at Garrick and whimpered softly, as if he could feel the cleric's spirit starting to drift away. Garrick grabbed Brayland's shoulder, nodded, and then put the ring into his tunic pocket. "Promise me, mercenary. Promise me you will..." Garrick nodded at the dying old man and squeezed his shoulder. "I will, Brayland. You have my word." The mercenary's mind was racing. The legendary scepter sword? The king priest? He wasn't sure what was really going on, or if any of it was true to anyone but the dying old cleric he was kneeling in front of. However, one thing Garrick did know was that Brayland would die peacefully if it were up to him. Brayland smiled up at Garrick and nodded. Then after a few more seconds, the old man leaned his head back and breathed his last breath. "Fall into Elion's embrace," whispered Garrick. It was something his mother said. The mercenary closed Brayland's eyes and stood up. The words he spoke echoed in his head, as he then remembered saying it to his mother when she died. Coming out of the memory and back to real life, Garrick felt something was off. All was quiet. Too quiet. He turned around. The bandits were gone. Garrick looked down at Onyx. Slipped away in all the commotion. Onyx growled lowly and sniffed the air, but Garrick patted the mystic wolf's head. "No, leave them be." Then Garrick looked at Brayland, grabbed the old cleric's staff, and said, "We have something more important to do."